when something has been developed for one purpose and then it's used for another. So, for instance, our tongue was developed for eating and swallowing, and then it wasn't foreseen necessarily, but we now use it for speaking.
Yes, that's a perfect example. So Darwin said, your heart, I'd get this for something else. And that he called pre-adaptations. Gould and Verba called them exaptations. Okay, but now let me show you what's going on. What you have is the idea of a function of a part is that some of the causal properties sustain the whole. That part has other causal consequences. So your heart pumps blood, but it makes heart sounds. So apparently Darwinian exaptation is finding a new use for this same organization.
Okay? Your tongue for speaking. Open-ended biological evolution is precisely finding new uses for the same thing. So this is really fundamental. It happens all the time in evolution. My favorite example is something called the swim bladder. The swim bladder assesses neutral buoyancy in the water column by the ratio of air to water in the swim bladder. It evolved from the lungs of lungfish by a Darwinian pre-adaptation. So there's a couple more steps, Jamal. This is not in complexity theory. It's where complexity theory has to go. You cannot deduce the new use from the old use. Okay, this is fundamental. Namely, here's a Kantian whole. It's got a bunch of parts. Each part has a very large number, I will say indefinitely many, subsets of causal features. Any one of them could become of use. But from the use of a heart to pump blood, you cannot deduce that jiggling water in the pericardial sac might be of survival value. There's no deductive relationship between the different uses of parts. And the word use is not in physics, but it is in biology. The implication is open-ended biological evolution is real, and it's real because
parts come to have and have used different non-deducible functions. So that underlying open-ended evolution, it's not deducible. So uses of things have the following three properties. They can't be put into one-to-one correspondence with the integers. Use of things is just a nominal scale. There's no ordering relationship. It cannot deduce one use from another. So I find the indefinite really fundamental. The indefinite is things with the property that they cannot be listed, cannot be ordered relative to one another, and cannot be deduced from one another. The definition is instantiated by the Darwinian pre-adaptations. This opposes Plato's forms, the eternal realm, and the fundamental notion which is central to Newton, that all the possibilities already exist, and that's Newton's pre-stated fixed-state space. At the pre-stated fixed-state space of quantum mechanics, biological evolution creates new possibilities. They come into existence. Tigers came into existence, a tearing head, and that's why biological evolution is open-ended. But it also means the evolution of the biosphere is an undeducible propagated construction, not a tale of deduction. So if I'm right, there is no theory of everything. At me, I'm thinking it's just so weird. It means there's a domain of entailing laws. Physics, quantum mechanics, general relativity. There is a domain of no entailing laws, and we have known that. This is genuinely huge. We in the West have looked for 2,500 or 2,400 years on the basis of Plato's Logos. The world is understandable, which is his internal realm, where all the possibilities already exist. It's so weird to get your mind around. The possibilities already exist again as Newton's pre-stated state space. It's the state space bit of quantum mechanics. It's the pre-statement of probability theory. All the possibilities already exist. Therefore, you can calculate a probability. It's the same thing thinking of statistical mechanics. All possibilities already exist. It's sitting there in entailing information. All the possibilities already exist. It's sitting there in logic. You say the statement, X is necessarily true. It's true in all possible worlds. There's no ontological debate for all possible worlds. The stunning thing, Curt, is that it takes in something huge.
So the transformation of complexity that I love, I mean, I've done it since I was 23, is in a world that's already formal, the bits on the computer have no causal consequences, right? But your heart actually does. It's a physical thing doing physical things in the world. So essentially, all of physics, all of complexity theory is in the formal world. And essentially, it's in Plato's world. The evolving biaser isn't. I know this is really weird to hear.
Just a moment. I want to understand the indefinite, the use of the word indefinite. Are you using it here to mean that it's ontologically unlistable, or are you saying that it's intractable for us epistemically, for us because we have finite minds?
Well, one way of saying is that it's not recursively enumerable. Okay, is that epistemic or is it ontological? The point's the following: the possibilities do not exist yet. They're new possibilities. When the tiger and the gazelle evolved, tigers could eat gazelles. And the possibility that a tiger will catch a gazelle and get dinner is real. 3 billion years ago, there weren't the possibility that the tiger exists. The possibility didn't exist. The possibility itself came into being. And it does so because Darwinian pre-adaptations really are new possibilities. Once a swim bladder exists, for example, it evolved because it was good at being a swim bladder, namely neutral buoyancy in the water column. But watch, Curt, once it's true that there's a swim bladder, is it now possible that a worm could evolve to live only in swim bladders? Sure. Before there was a swim bladder, was that possible? No. New possibilities come to exist all the time in the evolving biosphere, and that's outside of the purview of physics. So life depends on physics, but can't be reduced to it. And if that's right, then, beloved, there is no theory of everything. If you want the theory of everything to include an evolving biosphere. Isn't that weird? It's chapters 9 and 13.
I've had the fortune of being sent a preview of your book, so forgive me if I'm treading on water that doesn't make sense much to someone who hasn't read some of your book. I'll try to keep these.
And thank you, Curt. I expect I'm going to read. Let me go back. A few years ago, 14 physicists declined to read A Third Transition in Science, which Andrea Enroli and I had published, which is really curious.
So if affordances are truly indefinite, then how does natural selection find them without searching?
Well, it's wonderful.
Let's draw two different pictures. One is it's a vast space of possibilities, and evolution is searching in that vast space. And that image you immediately have, we all put a phase space. It's a huge phase space. That's not what's happening. But in a way, what's happening is here's a fish with a lung. It didn't search all over a spectrum of pre-existing possibilities at all. It creates new adjacent possibilities. It creates up this thing. It gets some water into the lung. Now there's water and air in a lung. You've got to stop with air and water. It's going to evolve into a swim bladder. It didn't search all over the place. It's what came up nearby. We're not used to thinking this way. The system is creating its adjacent possible, but we can't deduce what's in the adjacent possible because it's not deducible. Technological evolution is the same thing. You can't get a crossbow until you've got a bow. If you've got a bow, it's not hard to think about a crossbow. So technological evolution is doing the same thing. It is innovating based on what's around, typically for a new use, and if it's new, we see if it's patentable. It's not invented. Did you ever see this wonderful series of James Burke called Connections? It's about the evolution of technology. It's wonderful. One of them is about the evolution of the carburetor. I think it's the carburetor from a Persian biologist coarse perfume. Or the cannon evolved from a church bell. So it's a bell. So you think of the shape of the bell. Squeeze it in, and it becomes a cannon. That's canon for invented. Most inventions are pre-adaptations, Darwinian exaptations of things that already exist. There's not a pre-existing space of all the possibilities. It's so strange, and yet when you think about it, it's just obvious. Think about the evolution of the forelimbs in vertebrates. They can't keep being forelimbs and use the bone, right? I can't get from first arms to tails to whatever.
Isn't it an odd thought? It's not that there's this huge space. The evolving biosphere is invading the very adjacent possible that it creates. As in, the swim bladder emerges. Once it does, could a worm evolve to live in a swim bladder? Yeah. It couldn't before there were swim bladders.
The Economist covers math, physics, philosophy, and AI in a manner that shows how different countries perceive developments and how they impact markets. They recently published a piece on China's new neutrino detector. They cover extending life via mitochondrial transplants, creating an entirely new field of medicine. But it's also not just science. They analyze culture, they analyze finance, economics, business, international affairs across every region. I'm particularly liking their new Insider feature. It was just launched this month. It gives me, a front row access to The Economist's internal editorial debates, where senior editors argue through the news with world leaders and policymakers in twice weekly long format shows. Basically, an extremely high-quality podcast. Whether it's scientific innovation or shifting global politics, The Economist provides comprehensive coverage beyond headlines. As a TOE listener, you get a special discount. Head over to economist.com/TOE to subscribe. That's economist.com/TOE for your discount.